Maurice, je suis Maurice, N Tango Lima W0N, 1 Tango Lima 00N, je suis à la ville de Palermo, dans le sud de l'Italie, en Sicile, Yvonne, mais ok.
Hi guys, just a quick look at the Superstar 3900 Black, made by Durla. It's a Superstar 3900 with a black front, black knobs. That's pretty much it. It's exactly the same otherwise, but as I said, this is the one made by Durla, or distributed by Durla, made in Taiwan. It's a Superstar 360 or a Cobra 148 GTL DX. I think it's the PB101 or something. I'm not sure of the board name, but it's the same board, but with another 3 blocks of 40 channels. So this switch becomes a 3+3 position switch with that band selector there. The model I've got here is an early model without the pull PBF or something like that. I can't remember what it's called. It's sort of like a noise filter normally goes there. You pull this switch out. On this one, that doesn't do anything. That switch doesn't pull out. It's just the standing wave ratio calibration. So I'm just going to have a quick look at the radio, check the power. There's a bit of skip coming over from France today. Two stations coming over at once, I think, sometimes there. Yeah, on 27, not 555, one below or 2 below because of the alpha channel. This has actually got the alpha channels on it. On channel 9, that's the only modification, and I believe they had a Roger beep when they were from the factory, but this has been disconnected, I think. I'm not sure. I think they did. I think they had a beep, and now this one's disconnected, possibly, or perhaps they didn't have one, because I remember sometimes they had the Roger beep on a switch. Some of them did. So I'm not sure about that. So we're going to go through to my test channel and just test. Also, I'll mention on this that the well, I'll come back to the noise blanker, but let's just have a look at the yeah, what it does. So let's go to mid block. Let's see if there's anything on channel 6. Probably not. No. Yeah, that noise blanker makes quite a nice job. Noise blanker stroke or automatic noise limiter makes quite a nice job of getting rid of the noise on these radios. Quite handy. Some people cut it out. I don't like to mess with them. I didn't do the mod on this myself. Someone's put the 10kc jump, which is quite useful, to be honest. And channel 9's absolutely, nowadays, channel 9 is absolutely useless in any scenario, and it was an old thing that pretty much wasn't very useful. You can just go, I know it was the emergency channel, but I mean, you could just do that. It takes about 1 second. Anyway, let's just check this thing out, put it on the dummy load, see how much power it's doing, and I'll run through the features quickly. So this is a radio from I'd say mid 80s, something like that, possibly early 90s. Something like mid to late 80s, I guess. Produced by Uniden. Uniden board, like I said, Durla. Distributed by or made by or assembled by Durla. Probably in Taiwan. I believe it was Taiwan. Okay, so let's just have a look at the power then. Just on the test channel now. So that's FM. That's 5 watts. And let's just have a look on AM. Sorry about that. Okay, here we go. So AM. Oh, has it got a beep? No, it hasn't. No, so 5 watts and about 10 or 11 on PEP on AM. Let's go to USB. It does about 9 watts, 8 out of 9 watts on USB. It does more on LSB for some reason. This is something to do with the... it does about 1 watt more on LSB, this radio. It shouldn't do. I think they should be the same, but there was something wrong with this. and I think it was something to do with the bias. I'm not a radio engineer, so I don't know, but I did have a fiddle myself with one of the pots that I thought was the problem when there was no power on LSB, and that brought the power back, but I think I've overdone it, and yeah, we've got slightly 11 watts, but I say the audio sounds good, so and the power output's good, so I'll leave it at that. CW, obviously we need a key in the back to test that. I believe it's about 3 or 4 watts on CW. That's the power output there. These radios go from what would be triple low, which is sort of the frequency chart, so 25,615 up to 28,305. No UK 40 programmed, but is achievable by moving the KC shift to roughly 9 o'clock to get the offset to the UK 40 on high and double high. So it goes from triple low to double high, pretty much. That's the frequency range on it. Standard, all standard. This one's got, I'd say it's about 7 out of 10 condition. There's some little marks on it. The bezels, sorry, the face is in quite nice condition. The bezel's a little bit marked, but nothing bad. Everything works nicely apart from LSB, slightly more powerful. The signal meter's lazy a little bit. And it's also I think again I've tried myself to tune things up in there, and I'm not a radio engineer, so yeah, I've bodged it, where the signal meter's a little bit lazy on receive, and the other way on transmit, where it's a little bit probably a little bit too it shouldn't be all the way over into the red there. These things do about 10 watts if you turn them all the way up. 8 or 10 watts, obviously it shouldn't be into the red on the RF, it should probably just be at the start of the red, at the end of the green there. I'll check the calibration actually on the, so calibrate, try to do it one-handed, a little bit more. Yes, that's on cal there, it should be 0. The SWR meters aren't the most accurate, but they do give you some indication of your standing wave ratio. Yeah, it's really low there on the top there. You can see that bar SWR. It looks like about 1. It should be on 1 to 1. It's 1 to about 1.1. So obviously the dummy loads on the end of some coax really be best off at the end of the power meter, at the back of the power meter. So we've got a built-in SWR meter, handy, but not to be relied on as 100% accurate. Just an idea of what's happening. Noise blank automatic noise limiter, which I've just shown, is quite actually really useful. I like it on these radios. Very good. I've seen equipment costs a lot more with worse noise bankers than this. High band, low band just switches between the bank of 3. So you go triple low, double low, low, high band, mid, high, double high. Channel 9 is jump 10 kc forward on this radio. So it's been expanded just to do 10 kcs forward, so you can get the alpha channels, and that's it. The usual suspects on the bottom. Also, the squelch needs tightening up, because on LSB and USB the squelch isn't tight enough, but you don't really use squelch on USB LSB anyway, so I think it's okay on AM. Yeah, it's quite tight on AM, but it's not tight enough on yeah, it needs tightening up on LSB USB for my preference, but I think I've messed with it again. I've messed a bit with this radio, but I never break out the soldering iron, so anything I do is just literally turning pots. It's nothing you can't be undone, and I never go too far, I sort of guess, but yeah. What we got next? So we've got mic gain, RF gain, which on this rig is a bit crackly. And also that's tight, that's reasonably, well, that's loose actually. That's a little bit loose, only a tiny bit, so dual pipe, just needs the nut tightening up on the back of these. So you got RF gain, that's a bit crackly. Mic gain, I think that's crackly as well. I need some contact cleaner on those. That works nicely. That's just a band switch, mode switch, and fine and coarse, which I think moves about, I don't know, let's have a look actually.